Good day all of you. Welcome to our channel Intelligible Tutorials and welcome to our session. In this session we are going to see Linux kernel structure. What is the Linux kernel structure? What are the various components in it? Now we are going to see. Before going to the Linux kernel structure directly, we are going to see what are the various components of the Linux system. These components are listed here one by one. Now we are going to see. All these components already we have seen in our earlier videos at the starting of the Linux operating system. So in the introduction to Linux operating system and in introduction to operating system, these components are clearly discussed, and again once again we are going to see the components of the Linux system once again for clarity. Okay. So now we are going to see the Linux system is divided into 4 different components. The first one is the user applications. Whatever user programs are there currently in use, these comes under the user applications. Whatever transactions users are making to the OS, and OS is giving services to the users in the programming interface or in the application point of view, all these comes under the user applications. Currently in use applications regarding the user, all comes under the user applications. The next one is operating system services. What are the services offered by the operating system to the user? These comes under the operating system services. These are nothing but system calls, commands, programming interface. All these things comes under the operating system services offered by the operating system to the users. These comes under the operating system services. The next one is nothing but Linux kernel. Already we discussed what is the meaning of a kernel. Kernel can be considered as the heart or center core element of the Linux operating system. It sits between the OS and as well as the hardware. Whatever the processes that are concurrently running in the OS, these processes need to access some set of the hardware resources. These hardware resources cannot directly be accessible by the processes unless there is no kernel. Through the kernel only, the hardware resources can be accessible by the processes which are concurrently running. So in the operating system, whatever processes are running, they can access the hardware resources with the help of the Linux kernel only. Unless there is no kernel, there is no Linux operating system. Like that, a kernel became an integrated part of the Linux operating system. It has that much of the importance in the Linux operating system. It provides the accessibility to the hardware, to the operating system processes. Okay. So the next one is nothing but hardware controllers. Hardware controllers means this is one kind of the subsystem which control the physical devices, which control the disks, hard disks, and such as some secondary memory devices and CPU, and then other physical devices like monitor and all these things. All the physical hardware devices can be controlled by the subsystem is called as hardware controllers. Likewise, we have the Linux subsystem can be divided into 4 different things, 4 different subsystems as user applications, operating system services, Linux kernel, hardware controllers. Likewise, all these are divided into. Okay, so this is the clear view of the Linux subsystem or Linux system, how it is divided into 4 kinds of the parts. Among these, Linux kernel is one of the integrated and important thing we need to remember, which provides the accessibility to the hardware things. All the upper layer things can have the accessibility to the hardware controllers through the Linux kernel only. Okay, so this is the important things we need to remember here. So this is the Linux subsystem or Linux system. And now we are going to see what is the kernel structure, how the Linux kernel structure will be seen. The Linux kernel structure can have the components like this. This diagram represents the Linux kernel. The first one is nothing but memory manager, and next one is virtual file system, network interface, IPC, and process scheduler. What is the meaning of IPC? The expansion of IPC is inter-process communication. This inter-process communication, regarding this we see in next coming videos. before going to that, we'll see what are the various things, how they are connected with each other, what are the activities goes on in the Linux kernel structure. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts are there, 5 components are there in the Linux kernel structure. The heart of these components, all these components is nothing but process scheduler. What is the activity of the process scheduler means? It schedules the process, it executes the processes. Some of the it executes the process one by one, and some of the processes will be in the waiting state or queuing state. It handles each and every processes from the queue and executes one by one. According to the priority also, it can take the process one by one and execute the processes. It can wait a process and as well as it can suspend a process and it can resume a process also. Okay, process scheduler having so many number of the activities. It can wait a process in the queue for a particular point of time, for a particular period of time, and as well as it can start resuming of that particular process, and without waiting also it can continuously executing the process. Like that, it can have so many number of the activities. That is nothing but the process scheduler. Process scheduler is considered as the center core element of this Linux kernel structure. And this process scheduler, the other components are connected. The first one is the memory manager, and next one is the IPC, network interface, and virtual file system. See, all these components can have separate number of the processes. Okay, so these processes can be waited or suspended or resumed with the help of the process scheduler only. So whenever they want to do any kind of the action, the currently ongoing process can be suspended. Then only they can do their action. So whenever their action is completed, again the particular process which is suspended, again that can be resumed. So that's why process scheduler is needed. That is the important activity of the process scheduler. Unless there is no process scheduler, there is no Linux kernel structure. Okay. So what is the important part, background, what is the important thing behind of the operating system is nothing but processes. So many number of the processes concurrently running. Okay. So some of the processes can be suspended, some of the processes can be resumed, and some of the processes without suspended, they are continuously executed. Like that, so many number of the processes will be there. These are the some intermediate components. Whenever they want to do any kind of the task, they need to consult the process scheduler. That means the ongoing process must be stopped or must be stopped for a particular period of time, or waited or suspended for a particular period of time. And again, whenever the task has completed, the process which is suspended, again that can be resumed and it can continue their action. This permission can be given by the process scheduler only. Hence, it is the center core element of the Linux kernel structure. Now we see, for example, I am saying inter-process communication is there. Inter-process communication means the process communicate with each other. Each and every process can have communication with each other. That is nothing but inter-process communication. In this inter-process communication also, whenever a process is stopped, whenever it needs to stop a process, or whenever it needs to do any kind of the activity in the inter-process communication, it needs to stop the ongoing process. So that's why it needs to consult the process scheduler. Hence it is connected to this. In the same manner, virtual file system, mounting a file system, unmounting a file system, also we need to stop the currently running process. So that's why file system also connected to this. In the same manner, memory manager. Okay, whenever we are doing any kind of the memory management techniques, the memory management thing we see in the coming videos. How it will work, that we will see in the coming videos. So what is the meaning of the memory manager means? Whenever you want to manage the memory, to maintain the memory, it need also some kind of the processes. It needs to suspend some set of the processes. So it need to consult the process scheduler obviously. Now while coming to the network interface also, it has also one of the responsibility to consult the process scheduler. Let us see, for example, in the network interface, it needs to send one kind of the message through the network. Okay, so what it has to do, whatever process is currently running, it need to suspend all the processes and it sends the message through the network. Okay, so whenever it sends the message to the network, that message will be reached to all the destination points, and after successful reaching of the destination point, they return a code. That means the code represents it successfully reached or unsuccessfully reached, whatever it is, that will be there in the return code. Okay, so whenever it returns that return code, then only it resumes that particular process. So likewise, the network interface will work. Okay, so we can say that process scheduler is the integrated part of the Linux kernel structure. Remaining all other components are contacted to the Linux kernel structure. Why? Because they have to do their activity, to carry out their activity. They need to stop the currently running ongoing process. For that, they need to consult the process scheduler, and again whenever their activity completed, again they resume the process with the help of the process scheduler only. So this is the Linux kernel structure, and process scheduler is the central core part or central component of the Linux kernel structure, and all other components are connected like this. Okay, so this is the main important thing of the Linux kernel structures. In our coming videos, we talk about interprocess communication and memory management of this. Okay, so these are the important things, and please follow the coming videos also. Okay, so if you like this video, please subscribe the channel Intelligible Tutorials. Thank you.